Welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the Double RT Boxing Show. I am your host, Mr. A. It is 6 a.m. in the morning. If you're already up in the item, got your kids ready, got them getting them ready for school, they're in their shower, you're at work, you're on the freeway, you're doing something, you're coming home from work, but you're listening to some boxing talk. The Double RT Boxing Show, 6 a.m. Got your eggs, bacon, and boxing. That's right, eggs, bacon, and boxing with your host, Mr. A. Thank you for tuning in. Now, in today's episode, of course, we will be discussing the big PBC update. They sent us their nice little schedule, let us know what was happening for 2019. That is good to come. Good to come. Got some good little matches we will discuss over there. We will definitely discuss matches. Not all of them. I will do. There will be a separate segment of the whole actual card. Today we're just gonna pick and talk about some fights from there. We're gonna be talking about when is it too long to build a fighter. There's a few fighters out there. Is it too soon? Is it too late? Is it just right? So, that being said, this one more time, folks, thank you for tuning in when you do watch this on the replay. The Double RT Boxing Show. I'm your host, Mr. A. I wonder if you can hear this. I don't know how to test that. How can I know if this is on? Maybe I'm just taking a guess that these loud circles around my symbol tells me it's on. Well, that being said, taking a guess that it is on. Hopefully I'm not just sitting here yapping into nothing and nothing's being recorded. But hey, that is the possibility. Going live, fix this shit when it goes wrong. We'll find out later. Now, the PBC introduced a good quarter of their card. Now we're gonna see. I'm getting more and more excited about this hooker fight. Now that I don't want to just jump off into something else, but there's a few fights on here. They introduced about 8, 12 fights. But I'm just gonna touch the little quick ones here. Like I said, if we want the main fights, you definitely go into the whole segment. But the main ones you probably have to say is how it is official. We got to see them, Earl Spence and Mikey Garcia doing the face-off. We got to see it, folks. It is definitely happening. Pay-per-view Fox. Now that is big. It was weird just hearing that Fox music for boxing, Dun, 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 dun. It's that little it just programmed in my head as football music, it just weird. Like, what the hell is I thought I was watching the boxing press conference, and it's that fucking football music, man. And of course, starting this quarterly thing, this new PBC Fox run is the Charlo card. I think enough been talked about that, but kept forgetting that on that card is Dominic Trouble Brazil, battling Carlos Negron. Don't know much about that cat, but it is definitely good to see Dominic Brazil finally getting back in the ring, because for all the talk that he wants Wilder and Wilder needs to go fight him, how good you going to be when you finally get that shot and you over here sitting on your ass, and then you're going to blame it on, oh well, if I was active, it could have been different. I should get a rematch because I wasn't at my best. Go get some fucking fights and stop trying to just wait around. You're already labeled as the mandatory, so fucking get some fights. Even if there's some bitch fights, fight some. He should have been for like two Carloses, man. If he just wanted to play the weight game like Pulev, just wait it out. Fight like two Carlos, man. Don't just sit there on the bench and wait. Now, a fight I am very intrigued about, very intrigued, was January 13th announcement at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles. Jose Ukatsky taking on Caleb Plant, the IBF championship, the super middleweight, man. That that right there got me really excited. I think that's a good fight, because you got Jose, who's you know pretty much a double-handed weapon, uh, control the pressure fighter, up and down body attack, good range, and then you got Caleb Plant, who's a slow technician boxer. You know, he does a lot, but he does it slowly. I think of like Andre Ward when I think of Caleb Plant. Just in styles, not like the mind state of going into a fight, how they seem to have it strategized out. Okay, I'm going to try this. If that don't work, I'm going to try this. They already seem to be thinking. They don't. From what like I said, I don't. I know Caleb Plant maybe hasn't fought the top notch, competition, but he's definitely fought the competition where he's been labeled as. He hasn't been. I don't think he's been fighting below level. You know, he's been matched in with people who it should be on his record, but he's showing he's better than him. So here he is getting his title shot. Ooh, that's gonna be a good fight. Like I said, you got a nice pure pipe busting pressure, Jose. Dual handle weapons, hooks to the body. Can he knock out Caleb Plant? And can Caleb Plant be calm enough, handle the storm, and outbox him? Use that aggression against him. Very interesting to see that, because Caleb Plant is coming off. This fight should have already happened, but this Caleb Plant is coming off that uh, coming off a hand injury. But that one fight that Jose just had, it was on ESPN. That was supposed to be Caleb Plant, but due to his hand injury, he missed the fight. And Jose was like, "I'm not gonna sit on the bench. I'm gonna stay active." And that's why he kind of had that performance that he did have. So some people don't even know, and that's why he kind of had that performance that he did. All right, well, at least I know I am going live. I am heard. That is good. Yeah, so he said, the fact that he took in a sub opponent, he really kind of just let himself be looked as vulnerable, and it definitely wasn't Jose's typical performance. He seemed a little beatable. Before he seemed like he was like a monster of the division. Everyone kept calling him say. He definitely didn't seem that. So highly, highly want to see that fight. Interested in Dominic Brazil. Now this fight, if you listen to the the Double RT Boxing Show. You know, I've been around. I do Mr. A's Thoughts, where where I do the research. I don't. I just look at what's in front of me, boxing schedules, and I read some articles, and I just try to put thoughts together and what could work. So I don't want people coming at me saying like, "Oh, I thought your research was, your research is bullshit." It's just me putting information down and putting some assumptions together. And hey, there's no fucking pen and pad. I ain't sending emails out. I ain't doing no research like that. It's Mr. A's Thoughts going on here, folks. I get those thoughts together. So if you listen to the show and you heard Mr. A's Thoughts, you can look in the archive. It's the thumbnails of my face going my finger up to my temple. It's Mr. Keith Thurman's return, and who impossible who can his opponents be, and we labeled them down how it was going to be, and we got to two opponents. For those who did watch that episode, you would know who the opponents were. But for those who didn't, I'm pretty sure a lot of you didn't watch that Mr. A's Thoughts. We narrowed it down to Barra Nuevo and Josecito Lopez. That's who we narrowed it down to for the August 4th return. Remember, Keith Thurman was supposed to return on the August 4th, and his hand got hurt. The fight got canceled. But if you notice, around that time, Barra Nuevo fought on a PBC card. So maybe he was in town. Maybe he was scheduled to be Keith Thurman's return, and it fell through. So went to backup plan B. Al Heyman's like, hey, we brought you from Argentina. We told you we had a fight for you. Here, thanks for coming out. We'll get you a fight on PBC. Still hooked him up on TV. Now Thurman's back at it. He's good to go again. So they put him in with Josecito Lopez, our other guest. Now, this is good for me. I like Keith Thurman. I think he's, as much as it seems the fans have quickly turned on one time. Saying his inactive ducking of Errol Spence, the Duck Squad. We just now inducted this newest member. We're going to keep talking about it, folks. Jesse Vargas ducking Quadrilo Abdul Kakarov. Like I said, the reason why we talk about those ducks and constantly mention it, if people want the best versus the best, and people are going up the rankings, and then when their biggest opportunity comes, they get ducked. What the fuck, You can't. They gotta stay. They gotta stay fucking the best, fight the best. You can't duck someone when you supposed to be their best fight. You can't do it. Now back to one time. People consider him real duckish. That he ducked Errol Spence, and it's real weird. Because after he fought Danny Garcia, he did try and fight Manny Pacquiao. Remember, he's like, hey, I'll fight Manny Pacquiao for that. If he wants to fight Jeff Horn, he tried to fight Manny Pacquiao. He put his name out in the hat. Manny Pacquiao said no. And that's when Errol Spence was like, hey, I unify with you. And by that time, Thurman's like, fuck it, I get shoulder surgery. Or whatever elbow surgery, whatever he needed, he went and got surgery done. But they're like, hey, if you were willing to fight Pacquiao for the surgery, how come you're not willing to fight Errol Spence? And that's when it went downhill for Mr. One Time. Then he comes back and he hurts his hand. Except right here on the Double RT Boxing Show, Mr. A, I never gave a fuck about the Errol Spence fight and the Keith Thurman fight. I believe it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. And I know people could say, oh, fuck that. You got to demand people fight the best. I do want that, and I want people to always be active and fighting. Be active and fighting and fight the best. That's always a good thing. But when you're open with me as a fan, when you tell me, a fan, what you're gonna do with your career and how you're gonna do it, and like detail, then I'm not gonna be too mad at you for not fighting that person when you told me 8 months ago, a year ago, you weren't gonna fight him. Like I said, Keith Thurman blatantly told us in interviews all over the internet. First, he built Errol Spence up. Errol Spence need to, do something, get a belt, be somebody. Then I fight him. And then he's like, all right, now that he got that belt and people like him, it's obviously this is a big, great fucking fight. Errol Spence is my Super Bowl, and I go to that party when I'm damn well and ready, because I am the A side. No matter what people think, that fight happens when I want it to happen. I'm A side. So he barked up the A side tree. He barked it up. He let us know he'll fight Errol Spence when he's ready to. It's his big money fight. He's gonna cash out. And then I don't think he really planned on being hurt this long. It's elbow surgery, hand injury. Caleb Plant's coming back off a hand injury, so that's doable. And no tune-up, though. He's going straight for the champion. That would have been kind of crazy if Thurman went straight for the champion, but he's going for Josecito Lopez. I think it's a good fight. It's, if you want to test your elbow, your hand, like he said in the Fox press conference, he was talking about he couldn't spar or snap his jab hand. So why fight someone serious? Now, if he's out there and he wants to test his elbow, his hand, Josecito Lopez is a dangerous but also a good opponent to test those injuries. He's good for the fact that he's going to be in front of you. You won't have to do too much to hit him. But the bad thing is he's going to be in front of you trying to whoop your ass. So he's going to make you fire back. Either you're going to be very defensive and on the move, or your fucking elbow and hand better be legit and ready to fire back at Josecito Lopez. Because, no matter what people say about Mr. Lopez, he got his name and fame for wrecking shop, for cracking people. Whether he loses or wins, he got his fame for letting his hands go and putting in work. That fool, no matter who he fights, he cracks him. He's almost like what's the dude that fucking Canelo knocked out? I can't even think of the game. Kirkland. Kirkland was known for putting in work. And that's what Josecito Lopez. So as a comeback fight, when you have an elbow and hand injury and you got to make sure your punches are on point, you might have want to took a low punch opponent, a guy who doesn't have a guy. I guess you could label him as pillow fisted. You will want to think you want to be the dominant offensive fighter in this matchup as a tune-up fight. So yeah, Josecito Lopez is not on the champion elite caliber tier, but he has championship challenger caliber. He's been in title fights. I do believe he has, and he's obviously fought champion material. He fought Canelo. He fought I can't think of who he fought, but he fought top people. He's, like I said, he got his name to fame. He fought Victor Ortiz. Victor Ortiz was a champion, so he fought Victor Ortiz when he was at his best. So Josecito Lopez has a good pedigree to be an entertaining fight. I don't think this is going to be an easy fight, but I do expect Keith Thurman to come in shape and to pull through and to actually go out with a showing. I don't think this fight is going to go a boring 12 rounds. I think Keith Thurman takes boxing a little serious, you know, because he tries to he doesn't try, but he talks real depth detail in interviews how boxing is, you know, deep, and you got to see the levels is that image that portraying of him. I think he wants to come back. You know, he knows everyone hates him. Not hates him, but downplays him now. Everyone's talking Errol Spence. Errol Spence even threw shots at him in the press conference. You know, as long as I'm around, Keith Thurman's always going to be hurt. You know, people were laughing at that. You know, like, yeah, that's true. He don't want to fight you. Like it's out there as a joke now. People are looking at Thurman not fighting Spence as a joke. Like, yep, he wants to fight you, Thurman. You don't want to fight him. You're being a coward. So, and it's nothing more to be, I guess, the guy people want to see lose now. So that's where Thurman is now. So his Super Bowl fight is even bigger for him now because it's more like people tune in to the Super Bowl because it's this badass team, and the Patriots made it to the Super Bowl, but they look shaky. They're not the normal Patriots. Oh, that badass team is gonna fuck the Patriots up. A lot of people want to see the Patriots lose. Oh yes, please sack Tom Brady. You know, they want to see the top notch dog lose for the way Keith Thurman was on top and got belts, beat the best people to get those belts, and then now he didn't fight Errol Spence, and now people want to see him lose. You know, they want to see him lose bad. So whether you, like I said, however you want to see it, is he ducking him? I don't think he's ducking him if he blatantly tells us he's not going to fight Errol Spence until, you know, it's ready to be fought. You know, he wants the money for that fight. So hey, bullshit, whatever. I just respect it. Just like Mikey Garcia. You know, normally a dude just vacating belts left and right. I'd be like, what the fuck? Dude, what kind of champion is this? What kind of bitch move is that? Remember, Canelo vacated the WBC, didn't want to fight fucking Triple G. Mikey Garcia vacated the IBF 140, didn't want to fight Ivan Baranchyk. Vacated this IBF fight, didn't want to fight Richard Comey. You know, it's like, cool, okay, but the fuck, you know, why is that so cool for him to just keep vacating belts and no one gives a fuck? Because Mikey Garcia told us when he came back out of retirement, I'm making up for lost time. I'm going for nothing but big fights. You know, legacy fights, big fights. So he's hopping up in weight class, getting belts, going back down, giving them away. When someone tells you this is what I'm going to do, don't be mad at him for doing it. You know, oh, how come you ain't fighting him? How come I told you I'm going for big fights. That's it. I told you I fight Errol Spence when I want to fight him because it's really big. You know, when I have no more fights left, I'm going to go for my big fight. Let me build that big fight up. You know, those two fighters, they told us. So I'm not mad at those fights. And it's kind of crazy that they're like the only ones who seemed real cool, calm, and collected at that press conference. Garcia and Thurman, because they're like, all right, I'm back in business. Everyone else kind of seemed serious, holding their belts, you know, looking at their opponents. You know, first time under that type of pressure, that platform, new Fox Studios for them. It was, and you see Thurman and Garcia, they sitting there slunched over, nice and relaxed. Everyone else is sitting upright. It was crazy to see, you know. Charlo brothers, Charlos, they looked angry, you know. Even fucking made the host. So like, oh, those boys with the belts never smile, and Lennox Lewis like, nah, they want to keep them. They want to keep them. So ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with seeing a little bit of anger. It would have been nice just to see someone word of mouth, make a gesture, you know, especially like the lower fights. It would have even been nice to see like a Tony Harrison or a Willie Monroe. Say pump up something with the fight, just a little gesture. You know, it would have been real good. Pump up some of the fights. An interesting fight. And then, like I said, I don't want to go over every fight, but it's hard not to talk about because the more and more I look at it, it's the more and more I'm like, oh shit, some of these fights are pretty good, man. They're getting better and better as I keep like I notice another one. You know, you got like I said, these two fights, they seem kind of mid-range-ish. You got oh man, there's a lot of fights here. Which one? I don't want to talk about every one of them because it's just so many. But we could talk about one that's a little oddballish, but it's should be good. Just it's a stay around fight. Lamont Peterson and Sergey Lipinets. Now, Peterson needs this win. Peterson needs this win. Lipinets needs this win to say, I'm a force. You know, respect me. You know, I didn't just move up just because I can't make weight. I moved up because I want to fucking fight. I could beat you guys. You know, and right now Peterson still has that reputation as a workhorse who could do it. You know, he lost to Earl Spence. You know, ain't nothing wrong with that. No one's looking at Lamont Peterson losing to Earl Spence as wrong. You're like, oh, okay, he's not that good. You know, it's Earl Spence, man. And right now, this is the guy who's everyone considering is the man. So Lamont Peterson losing to him ain't 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 bad. It just he needs a win to stay relevant. You know, David Anaversian, whatever his name was, I forgot his name. And then to Earl, and then losing, he just needs. He can't lose to Lipinets. You know, it just won't be a good. It'll be hard for him to stay forward. Like if Lipinets loses, he will have a better chance to me getting a bigger fight than Lamont Peterson would. If Lamont Peterson loses, no one's gonna go for Lamont Peterson as a big fight. He might be like the gatekeeper, like for number 12s and number 13s to fight. No number 5 is gonna fight Lamont Peterson again. But if Sergey Lipinets loses, people will fight him, you know, as a name because he's still somewhat fresh, even though he has losses. You know, that's just how I see it. I think he's a more fresher name than Lamont Pearson with losses. I think he'd be a better uh, record patter. An interesting fight. No, it's a bull. People gonna say it's a bullshit fight. Anthony Durrell and Yardirim. Can you believe that, man? Going down for the super middleweight championship, WBC. Who gave that belt up? The WBC super middleweight championship. That was who's the rest of the super middleweights? You got Jose. You got uh Rocky Felden. No, you got Caleb as WBA. WBO's Herberto IBF. Who gave up the WBC in the motherfucking super middleweights? Who lost it here? Who fucked up and lost this WBC belt? Of course, I can't think of it because I want to know right here on the Double RT Boxing Show. The head doesn't know. Whoever's out there, do you know who lost the WBC? Why is that belt vacated right now? What the hell happened to that title? What happened to the WBC Super Middleweight Championship? Damn it, we can't think of it right now. Cannot think. But anyway, Yardiman and Durrell, that's going to be a oddball champion in that division. That's going to definitely be, that's the battle for the weak link right there. And can you imagine Yarderman winning this belt, going from getting destroyed by Chris Eubank Jr. to getting a title shot on national TV against Anthony Durrell, a very winnable opponent. You know, Durrell has fast hands though. Fast hands hits hard, and trouble does bother uh, Envy. He seems to have tried to work on his feet movement since the loss. He tried to work the body since the loss of since Eubank Jr. But I still think he's too slow to handle Durrell. But if Durrell takes this dude kind of for granted, I could see, like I said, Durrell brothers to me, you can mess with them mentally and just totally change the whole fucking fight. If Yarderim, if he could get close and dirty like the robot, not close, because Durrell does have body gang, close and dirty, make Durrell mad, get him. I think Yardman have a better chance at making Durrell mad, and instead of making him a calm fighter, keeping it calm. Because if you, I seen Durrell get thrown off his game when he gets outboxed and out jabbed. He gets mentally frustrated, like he's looking embarrassed in front of the crowd. Because to me, he gives off that aura of can't be fucked with. He's very angry. He's interviewed like he's the man. So when you fuck with someone like that, when you punch them in the face in front of people after they spend so much time talking loud that they can't be fucked with, they don't perform like themselves. And I think that's how Anthony Durrell is. If you can change him mentally in a fight. And what other nice little fights we can definitely. Now, Peter Quillen and Caleb Trax, I save that one. And we'll talk about one more here. One of these fights that was announced. Like I said, there's a lot of good ones. A lot of good ones. But the last one we would discuss before we move on to when do you let go of the reins on a fighter? Before we move on to that topic, we will talk about one more fight. It's a throw in there fight. It's a undercard fight. It's a pure fan friendly fight. It's a here you go, fans. You got Omar Figueroa Jr. taking on John Molina Jr. Battle of the Juniors. Like, if you don't know who these guys are and you're just like, okay, show me, what are they? Show me the Carfax, show me the boxing facts. You got Omar Figueroa, 27-0 with one draw, 19 KOs. You got John Molina Jr., 30 with 7 losses, but 24 KOs. So let you know, John Molina's been around just a little bit longer, 10 fights more, 7 losses, but 24 knockouts. He has like 24 knockouts while Omar has 28 fights. So this should be a nice, just entertaining fucking fisticuffs, fist to the face. Ain't much defense going on. John Molina's going to bring his rugged, old school whiskey's bar fighting style, leaned over. He has that bar swindler style, that old hunch over style. You got Omar Figueroa going to be throwing punches, coming off an injury, coming off, DUIs. Shit. Hopefully his stamina is good to go for that fucking volume throwing ass. But these guys, you got Molina Jr. who hits hard as hell. And you got Omar who throws a volume of B range strength punches, this fight does not have the high possibility, the high odds of lasting. So this should be a very interesting fight, you know. So, like I said, there's plenty of more. Those are just a few fights that we talked about. We slowly, talked about a little. Like I said, there's still Adam Novalky taking on Washington, Gerald Washington. You got Leo Santa Cruz taking on Miguel Flores announced. You got Sean Porter and Ugas. You got Danny Garcia and Adrian Granados. You got many more dates that was announced. So like I said, I am going to do another segment on the rest of the fights. So we're going to a little more talking about just that card itself. Didn't want to spend the whole morning talking about that card. So everyone just kind of watched it. I just thought I'd talk about a few of those fights because I also, like I said, I want to talk about something. And what made me notice, like, when is it too early to let the reins go? There's been a lot of talk about is Daniel Dubois ready to go on? Should that fight between him and Nathan Gorman be happening? Is it too soon to be happening? Then you have Anthony Yard. What is happening with Anthony Yard? Is he being carried way too slow? Are they moving him just fine? Like I said, and what makes me think this, yesterday we were talking about how good that December 15th Canelo Alvarez card is turning out to look. You got Canelo taking on Rocky Fielding. You got Tyriano Johnson and David Lemieux. You got Tevin Farmer and Francisco Fonseca. Like, it's not complete barn busting stacked undercard, but it's good people taking on competitive fights. And then I totally forgot to mention that it's also going to have Katie Taylor on there, so that even if hopefully she's not in too much of a lopsided fight. I doubt if they're going to get Amanda Serrano on that quick of a turnaround for that fight. But I forgot to mention that Ryan Garcia is going to be on that card. I was like, oh, like I was always thinking, like, dude, like that could be a nice little piece for DAZN to really build on. But then I was thinking, what do you do with him? He's number 5 for the WBO. I mean WBA. He's number 5 for the WBA. He's number 12 for the WBC. The IBF, he's not even ranked. But then you have him number 4 for the WBO. So he's number 5 by the WBC. No, number 12 by the WBC. Number 5 by the WBA. That's Gervonta Tank Davis and Machado. Not even ranked by the IBF, and I don't think Golden Boy wants to put Ryan Garcia anywhere near Tevin Farmer. Not right now. Lou DiBella got a nice little late bloomer. I think that is Lou DiBella, Tevin Farmer, right? That's Lou DiBella. Lou DiBella just signed. If it is Lou DiBella, he just signed himself the Game Boy Emmanuel Tago, the Ghanaian. But I'm not sure if Tevin Farmer is not with Lou DiBella. Lou DiBella did sign Tago, so hey, right here on the Double RT Boxing Show, eggs, bacon, and boxing, right in the morning. Like I said, so when is it too early? Is it too early to? You figure it's going to be He's fighting in December. He's taking one more fight. He's number 4 for the WBO. Depending on this fight and how he looks, there's a chance he could be bumped into number 3. When do you go with Ryan Garcia? If a title shot lands in his lap with Ito, do you take it? Do you turn it down? You know, if a title shot lands in his lap, Gervonta Davis and Machado, do you turn that down? Michelle, now like I said, he's deep at number 12 for WBC, but do you turn down that shot with Burchett if it lands in the lap of Ryan Garcia by the end of say October 2019? Do you take it in January 2020? You know, like I said, he's high in the rankings. In about a year and a half, 2 years, he's going to be at number 1 unless he takes an ass whooping during that time. But I'm saying you have him. That's one fight. Like when do you move him? Is it too soon? How soon is too soon? How many fights do you got to have? He's what 13-0, I think. You got Anthony Yard. I believe he was 17. Let's look at what is Yard's record. Anthony Yard. How now he's number 2 by the WBO. He's number 2 by the WBO, and it's been known and let out that he turned down fights with champions. He turned down Beterbiev fight. He turned down Kovalev's fight. Like, how do you justify like it's okay for him to turn down championship fights? Oh, they're just building him up. He's not ready. He's not ready. They build him up in a form to quick status, quick style. You know, you don't get a fighter ready and get him at number 2 and then just put the brakes on him. He's 17-0 with 16 knockouts, Anthony Yard. And the reason why I say they built him to be ready, like I said, I got the whole Anthony Yard hype, I created this show a year and a half ago, Mr. A. I was like, hey, Mr. A, I'm going to get a boxing show, the Double RT boxing show with Mr. A, so I could talk boxing around the world, all the rankings, so the best fight the best. We know who the best are when they become the best, as they work their ass off up the ladder to show the world, like, hey, give me my shot. Like Quatrillo Abdul Kakarov and fucking Jesse Vargas ducked him when he had his shot given to him. Now, like I said, I'm always going to mention it because we always talk about the best and the best getting ducked at the top level. Quatrillo, for 2 years now, been climbing up all these rankings, and he finally gets Jesse Vargas, a big name for him. So we can't call him a bum. So we can finally say, hey, well, shit, Jesse Vargas lost to who? Let's start knowing who he is. No, he don't get the opportunity. He got ducked. Now, like I said, back to Anthony Yard. I'm always going to be on that rant, until I feel, at least until his fight coming up with Chiesa, the one who stepped in for Jesse Vargas. People need to know about, how the hard-working people are getting ducked by their leaders. It's not about the money. They're getting ducked because they don't want to lose to these people. Now, back to Anthony Yard, how he was built for fast tracking and then put the brakes on him. And they're using an excuse like, oh, we want him to be ready. Look how they built him. They built him on belt chasing. You chase these belts if you want to get a high placing in the ranks. You want to get a high placing in the ranks because you want to go get the champion. You don't start grabbing belt hunting. You don't start fucking go on like Tomb Raider and start just hunting down belts, relics, and say, oh, I got all this gold and now I don't want to. Stop calling me. Stop calling me. I told you I want to help you hunt treasures down, but stop calling me now. You become number 1, and people call you because you're the best. and now you don't want to do it. Listen to how they build him up. You know, he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-0, just building himself up. Then his 11th fight, he fights Chris Hobbs, the BBC Southern Area heavyweight title, light heavyweight title. And then from there, he fights for the WBO, European light heavyweight title. From there, he adds the WBO Intercontinental heavyweight title. So he has the WBO European, the WBO Intercontinental title. And he's defending those belts all the way to now. And he's been offered the WBO title shot with Kovalev, and he turned it down. Like I said, for those who are unfamiliar with how the belts work, obviously you got the WBO European. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The European light heavyweight champion. Then you got the Intercontinental uh, light heavyweight champion. He can go to different continents. He could cross the border into a different continent. The European, obviously, he could fight all within Europe, but the Intercontinental, he could cross dry land borders of another continent and defend his belt, try and be champion of another continent, run shit. But like I said, you got him number two at light heavyweight, screaming out lions in the camp. Been built up belt chasing. Is it too soon to move him? Is it too soon? Is he still, is he supposed to be getting better? See, what fucked it up was Lomachenko. Lomachenko put the world on, I can do it. You got some people trying to do it, can't do it. You got Usyk out here. Is Usyk great? Is he the best? People get pissed off when you talk about it. Is he the best cruiserweight? Just by the only fact you can say he's the best cruiserweight is the fact that he became cruiserweight champion the quickest. Now take away whatever value that has, then it's just open for fucking conversation. It's just boxing banter left and right. That's his footwork and his movement is gonna make that argument go on for a long time. No matter what punching power, combination, who did this, who did that, whatever you bring up in the conversation against Usyk, his footwork is just gonna it's just gonna make whoever you talk to just right. They're not gonna want to lose that battle, but they can't move like Usyk. And you're like, well, this motherfucker could beat the shit out of Usyk's body, got a little better, got some movement, but he can't punch for fast like Usyk. It's like, all right, then Usyk is good. So is he the best cruiserweight ever? And maybe it's a little young in his career to say that, but the motherfucker is good. He is definitely the best cruiserweight right now by far. I don't think like I said, the fact that he did it so much, I don't think anyone's gonna be beating him. Like I said, Lawrence Okolie, he's I believe 9-0. He fought Luke Watkins before Isaac Chamberlain. Those are big domestic fights. And Okolie's number 13 in the WBA. And even though those are just local fights, that a lot of casual American fans are not going to know that, but those are big local fights, the big domestic fights, and those are bigger fights than Anthony Yarde has had. I think, and like I said, even Anthony Yarde's biggest fight, what is it? Can you say Ryan Garcia's last fight Dang, that veteran Mexican dude's name. I forgot his name. Can't think. Remember I know he rocked Ryan Garcia a couple times. He took him the distance. But can you say that competition is tougher than the competition of Yard had? Because obviously Danny Dubois, what tough competition has he had? Like I said, how do you move these guys along? Nathan Gorman, you got him calling Dubois out. And when is it bad to match two young prospects up? You got one 13-0, one 8-0. Is that really that bad of a matchup? Nathan Gorman ain't. Yeah, he's 13-0, but he ain't beating the brakes off like top notch people. He's being the same level opposition as Dubois has. Just more of them. Everyone's criticizing Wilder's resume for being, he's fighting those bums, blah blah blah. When is a correct level of bum fighting? Is it 15? Is it 20, 22? And then by 22, you go get a nice domestic belt, an NABF belt, or you just say fuck those belts. You go straight for the championship. You start fighting number threes and number fours. Try and get those fights. Like I said, I don't think you could just go 22-0 and fight number three. I think you need those alphabet belts, those low tier belts. That is what I'm thinking. Like I said, I just don't know when is it. Lomachenko fucked it up. He really did. What fighter? I don't know if you guys been watching the show. We covered a Chinese fighter coming out of the Olympics, or he was some type of decorated amateur for the Chinese. Bin Liu. He was 1-0. His second fight, he tried to get a title shot against Rosales, I believe it was. Rosales beat his ass. I think it was a Christopher Rosales. I want to say beat his ass. Like, who the fuck do you think you are trying to fight me? And you see what Christopher. I think it was him, but it was someone who he beat someone's ass. I mean, Ben Liu tried to fight someone in his second fight, tried to do that Lomachenko shit, and got his ass beat by this champion. Champion knocked him down like 3 times in a championship rounds too. Beat him down. So it is almost that time, folks. It is getting near the end of the show. The Double RT Boxing Show, Season 2, Episode 11, with your host, Mr. A. Eggs, Bacon, and Boxing. Thank you for your support. When you watch this on the replay, hit the thumbs up. And remember, the next episode will be at 6 a.m. Maybe 7 people will come in. Maybe 3 people will come in. So far, it's a hit and miss. I get lucky. I get some fans. I see I'm getting some watches on the replay. Thank you guys for that one. It's a building. It's a building. We had at one point we had 1 subscriber. Now we got 559. Thanks to you guys. You guys helped it grow. So hopefully you can help the live edition grow that well. At 6 a.m. I know it's kind of early, but it's evening somewhere around the world. Maybe you guys are at work. Maybe some people ain't. Just hopefully the show catches on. We'll see how it goes. I'm your host, Mr. A. Thank you for showing the support and effort you do when you do support the show. Thumbs up when you watch it on the replay. Follow the show at Twitter at RRTB Show. I'm your host, Mr. A. Thank you for tuning in.